You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Friday, July the 10th, 2020. An AL East matchup was played between the Orioles and the Red Sox, and it would have been a closer game had the Red Sox not scored 10 runs in the bottom of the fourth inning. 13-3 was the final score of this one. The Orioles put up a good offensive performance. They got 3 runs on 9 hits, but still they were outmatched solely by a 10-run bottom of the fourth inning that the Red Sox had. Hector Velasquez got the win. Keegan Aiken got the loss. He's now 0-3 since being called up to the big leagues. And Josh Taylor earned his first save of the season. The Rangers and Yankees played each other, and the Rangers won by a hefty amount. 13-6 was the final score. The Yankees struck first. They got a run in the third, 3 runs in the fourth, totaling 4 runs. But then the Rangers, in the top of the 5th inning, put up 7 runs. And they had the lead after that point. They also put up 4 runs in the top of the 7th and 2 runs in the top of the 8th to run away with the game. Jordan Lyles got the win, and James Paxton got the loss. Interleague baseball played between the Cardinals and the Rays. 7-2 was the final score. The Cardinals came out on top. Miles Michaelis got the win. He's now 8-1 on the year, and Ryan Yarbrough got the loss. He's now 5-10. The Twins beat the Blue Jays. 3-1 was the final score of this game. It was a close one. Neither team scored more than 1 run in any given inning. Jose Barrios got the win, Trent Thornton got the loss, and Tyler Duffy now has 12 saves on the season. AL Central Baseball, the Indians beat the Royals 3-2 the final score. There was early offense from both teams, and the Royals actually had the lead after the first inning. It was 2-1. Then the Indians put up a 2-run bottom of the 3rd inning. That was the last time either team scored. Zeros were put up on the board throughout the rest of the game, and the Indians' lead held up. Mike Clevenger got the win, Jacob Junis got the loss, and Brad Hand now has 32 saves on the season. Interleague play between the Diamondbacks and the White Sox, 10-3 was the final score of this game. The Diamondbacks had a late push on offense, which caused the gap in the score, and they ended up winning by 7 runs. Zach Gallen got the win, and Michael Kopech got the loss. A battle of Los Angeles and the California area. 5-3 the final score. The Angels won this game. Each team had 6 hits, and it was pretty even on the scoreline, but the Angels came out on top by 2 runs. Tyler Glasnow got the win, Clayton Kershaw got the loss, and Hansel Robles now has 28 saves on the season. AL West baseball was played, and it was a close game. It took extra innings to complete this one, but the Mariners came out on top by a 4-3 score. Brennan got the win, and Petit got the loss. The Tigers and Astros played each other, and the Astros came out on top by 11 runs. 14-3 was the final score of this game. The Astros started scoring immediately with a 6-run bottom of the 1st inning. They scored periodically throughout this game. The Tigers scored all 3 of their runs in the top of the 9th inning, but it was too little too late for them. Jose Urquidy got the win, and Spencer Turnbull got the loss. NL East baseball, the Phillies beat the Nationals 12-1. This was quite a blowout game. The Phillies scored early. They put up 3 runs in the first and 4 runs in the second to take a 7-run lead early, and they continued to score in this one. The Nationals scored their only run in the bottom of the 7th inning, and they fell short 11. Vince Velasquez got the win, and Joe Ross got the loss. The Mets and Marlins played each other. 3-1 was the final score of this game. The Marlins came out on top. This is another NL East matchup. Jose Urena got the win, Michael Wacha got the loss, and Brandon Kinsler now has 25 saves on the season. The Braves and Cubs played each other, and the Braves came out on top by a 4-2 final score. Each team had 6 hits in this one, but the Braves came out on top by 2 runs. Felix Hernandez got the win, Jose Quintana got the loss, and Will Smith reached 30 saves after earning the save in this game. NL Central Baseball played between the Pirates and the Reds, the 2 bottom teams in the division, and the Pirates won. 7-5 is the final score of this game. The Pirates were trailing by 2 runs going into the top of the 9th inning, but they scored 4 to take a 2-run lead, and they secured the win in the bottom of the 9th inning. Chris Stratton got the win out of the bullpen. Raisel Iglesias blew the save and got the loss in this one, his 3rd of the year, and Keone Kela now has 19 saves on the season. The Brewers just had a tough offensive day, 1 run on 3 hits. The Rockies, however, scored their 3 runs on 13 hits. Brian Shaw got the win, David Phelps got the loss, and Wade Davis locked down the save in the bottom of the 9th inning. And this game was an NL West game that went 16 innings, not our longest game of the season, but still a marathon. The Padres had tied the game in the top of the 8th inning, which turned out to be moot. Neither team scored in the 9th. There were zeros put up from the 10th to the 15th innings. But then in the 16th, the Giants ended up winning anyway. They walked it off in the bottom of the 16th inning to win. The Padres also out-hit the Giants 11-8, and the Giants committed 3 errors compared to the Padres' 2 errors as a team in this game, but still, the Giants won this marathon of a game 5-4. Taylor Rogers got the win, and Matt Strahm got the loss. Let's take a look at standings now. Starting in the American League East, the New York Yankees stole at the top of the 55-38 record, though they lost to the Rangers today. The Blue Jays, even though the Yankees lost, couldn't gain any ground in the division because they lost to the Twins today, so they're stuck 2 games back in the division with a 54-41 record. The Red Sox 47-47, they're 8.5 games back after winning today. The Rays have lost 3 in a row, they're 45-50, 11 games back, and the Orioles 38-57, 18 games back. They've also lost 3 in a row. In the American League Central, the Minnesota Twins beat the Blue Jays today. They're 67-29. They still have the best record in baseball, and they're still in first place in the Central. The White Sox 54-40. They lost today. They're 12 games back. The Indians won today. They gained ground on the White Sox. They're 52-43, 14.5 games back in first place. The Tigers are 39-56. They're 27.5 games back. They lost today, and the Royals also lost today. The Royals are 32-63, 34.5 games back in first place. And in the American League West, the Oakland Athletics are 58-37. They're at the top of the division. The Astros have won 4 games in a row. They're now 2 games back of the Athletics for first place with a 55-38 record. The Angels are 45-50. They're 13 games back. They won today. The Rangers also won today. 40-55 is their record. They're 18 games back. And the Mariners are 35-61, 23.5 games back of first place. And here are the wildcard standings in the AL. The Astros have the top spot. They passed the White Sox. They're 55-38. The White Sox now have the second wildcard spot. They're 54-40. The Blue Jays, very close. They're a half game back of that second wildcard spot with a 54-41 record. The Indians also close. They're 52-43, 2.5 games back. Every other team in the American League has a winning percentage at 500 or below and is at least 7 games back of a wildcard spot. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals still lead, though they've lost 2 in a row. They're 53-42. That's allowed the Marlins and the Braves to gain a game on the Nationals. The Marlins are 51-43, now a game and a half back of the Nats. And the Braves now 2 games back of first place with a 51-44 record. The Phillies also won today. They've gained some ground, though it's insignificant at this point. 43-51 is their record. They're 9.5 games back. And the Mets have gone on a 5-game losing streak. They're 42-52, 10.5 games back of first place. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals still lead. They're 55-40. They've won 2 games in a row. The Cubs have gotten on a relatively cold streak. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games. They're back at 500 now. 47-47 is their record. 7.5 games back. They are at first place. The Brewers getting closer to a 500 winning percentage, but they lost today, so that was prevented from happening. They're 46-47 now. They're 8 games back. The Reds 39-55. They haven't gotten that 40th win yet. They've lost 2 games in a row. They lost to the Pirates today, and they're 15.5 games back of first place. And the Pirates beat the Reds today. They're 35-59, and they're 19.5 games back of first place. In the National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers continue to dominate. They're 64-31. That's good for the second best record in Major League Baseball. The Diamondbacks are in second place with a 51-43 record. They're 12.5 games back. The Padres have lost 3 in a row. They're 48-47, dangerously close to a 500 winning percentage. They're 16 games back of first place. The Rockies are 40-54, 23.5 games back. And the Giants are 36-57, 27 games back of first place. And here are the wildcard standings in the NL. The Marlins and the Diamondbacks have the same record at 51-43. The Braves are now a half game out of a wildcard spot. They're 51-44. The Padres are close, but they've gotten cold recently. They're 48-47, 3.5 games back. The Cubs are at 500. They're 47-47. They've fallen down to 4 games back of a wildcard spot. The Brewers are 46-47. They're 4.5 games back. They're the next closest team. And every other team in the National League has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 8 games back of a wildcard spot. And let's look at league leaders now, starting with batting average leaders in the American League. Miguel Cabrera still is the highest at a .355. Miguel Andujar second best at a 335, and Michael Brantley third best with a 328. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has the highest at a 355, Jonathan Villar the next best with a 353, and Christian Yelich third best with a 352. Hits leaders in the American League, Miguel Cabrera at the top with 131, Miguel Andujar second best with 128, and JD Martinez third best with 123. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 140 hits, Paul Goldschmidt the next best at 121, and Nolan Arenado third best with 117. At bat leaders in the American League, Jose Abreu has the most with 386, and in the National League, Jonathan Villar has the most with 397. Doubles leaders in the American League, Anthony Rendon still at the top. He has 35. Jose Abreu second best with 30, and Whit Merrifield third best with 28. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has the most doubles with 41. Christian Yelich 8 behind him with 33, and Trey Turner rounds out the top 3 with 28. Triples leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi has the most with 7. Jose Altuve second best with 6. Stephen Piscotty, Whit Merrifield, and Adam Eaton third best with 5. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 12 triples. Victor Robles the next best with 7. Chris Bryant, Hunter Pence, Tommy Edman, Nolan Arenado, and Cody Bellinger all tied for third best with 5. Home run leaders in the American League, Justin Upton still at the top of this leaderboard. He has 33. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. the next best with 28. Chris Davis and Josh Donaldson are tied for third best with 27. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 35 home runs. Paul Goldschmidt second best with 32. Pete Alonso and Jock Peterson tied for third best with 26. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is at 86. Chris Davis the next best with 78. And Nelson Cruz third best with 76. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt close to 90. He's at 89, and it's not even close. Ronald Acuna Jr. and Christian Yelich each are at the number 2 spot on this list with 72. Run scored leaders in the American League, JD Martinez has 72. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has scored 81 runs this year. Stolen base leaders in the American League, Malik Smith has tied Adalberto Mondesi for the top spot. They each have 22 stolen bases. D. Gordon is third best on the list with 19. In the National League, Starling Marte back on top solely with 32. Trey Turner still at 30, moving him down to second on this leaderboard now. And Jonathan Villar rounds out the top 3 with 25. Walks leaders in the American League, Alex Bregman has the most with 60. In the National League, Mookie Betts has the most with 65. On base percentage leaders in the American League, Miguel Cabrera has the highest at a 421. Alex Bregman slightly behind Miguel Cabrera. This is also 421. Josh Donaldson and Carlos Santana tied for third best with the exact same on-base percentage, 408. In the National League, Christian Yelich has a 456 on-base percentage. Paul Goldschmidt the next best with a 453. And Ronald Acuna Jr. third best with a 421. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson's at a 641. Max Kepler behind him with a 632. And Justin Upton rounds out the top 3 with a 622. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. is at a 727. Paul Goldschmidt second best with a 716. And Christian Yelich rounds out the top 3 with a 691. On-base percentage plus slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson has the highest at a 1.049. Chris Davis the next best with a 1.011. And Max Kepler third best with a 1.009. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has the highest at a 1.169. Ronald Acuna Jr. the next best with a 1.148. And Christian Yelich third best with a 1.146. Moving on to pitcher leaderboards, starting with wins leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda has the most wins with 11. Hyunjin Ryu also has 11. He's tied for the top spot. Jose Urquidy, Zach Greinke, and Jake Odorizzi tied for third best with 10. In the National League, Walker Buehler has 12 wins. Steven Strasburg the next best with 11. David Price and Madison Bumgarner tied for third best with 10. Losses leaders in the American League, Chris Bassett at the top, along with Kenta Maeda. They each have lost 0 games this year. In the National League, Carlos Martinez has lost the least amount of games with 1. Saves leaders in the American League, Liam Hendricks and Brad Hand tied for the top with 32. Roberto Ozuna third best on the list with 29. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos has the most with 33. Kenley Jansen the next best with 32. And Craig Kimbrell third best with 31. ERA leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda has the lowest at a 2.32. Jake Odorizzi the next best with a 2.52, and Aaron Savale third best with a 2.63. In the National League, Marcus Stroman has the lowest at a 2.16. Walker Buehler the second lowest with a 2.22, and Jacob deGrom the third lowest with a 2.41. Home runs allowed among American League pitchers, Kenta Maeda and Gio Gonzalez have allowed the least amount of home runs with 9. In the National League, Carlos Martinez, Marcus Stroman, and Jacob deGrom have allowed the least amount with 7. Shutout leaders in the American League. Masahiro Tanaka has thrown 4 complete game shutouts this year. Garrett Cole's at 3 complete game shutouts, and Jake Odorizzi third best with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has thrown 4 complete game shutouts. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Merrill Kelly, and Walker Buehler all tied for second best. They've each thrown 2 complete game shutouts this year. Strikeout leaders in the American League. Garrett Cole has the most at 161. Lucas Giolito, the next best at 143. Jake Odorizzi and Carlos Carrasco are tied for third best with 132. In the National League, Steven Strasburg has the most with 154. Clayton Kershaw, second best with 151. And Robbie Ray rounds up the top 3 with 139. Complete games thrown among American League pitchers. Masahiro Tanaka has thrown 4 complete games. Garrett Cole's thrown 3. Aaron Savale and Jake Odorizzi tied for third best. They've thrown 2 complete games this year. In the National League, Jacob deGrom's thrown 4 complete games. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler tied for second best on this list with 3 complete games thrown this season. Innings pitched leaders in the American League. Hyunjin Ryu has the most at 129. Garrett Cole second best at 123 and 2/3 innings. And Carlos Carrasco and Shane Bieber tied for third best with 120. In the National League, Clayton Kershaw has thrown 133 and 2/3 innings. Aaron Nola second best with 129 and 2/3 innings. And Steven Strasburg third best at 126 and 2/3 innings pitched. Walks allowed among American League pitchers. Carlos Carrasco has allowed the least amount with 22. In the National League, Brett Anderson has allowed the least amount with 24. Whip leaders in the American League. Jake Odorizzi has the lowest at a 106. Hyunjin Ryu second lowest at a 109. And Masahiro Tanaka third best at a 110. In the National League, Aaron Nola has allowed a whip of 105, the lowest in the NL. Marcus Stroman, the second lowest at a 106. Clayton Kershaw, the third lowest at a 108. Pitching war leaders in the American League, Jake Odorizzi and Masahiro Tanaka are each at a 3. They're 1 and 2 on the list, and Carlos Carrasco third best at a 2.9. In the National League, Jacob deGrom is at 3.5, Steven Strasburg's at a 3.2, and Aaron Nola third best at a 3.1. Batting war leaders in the American League, Marcus Semion's at a 5.6, Yohan Moncada second best at a 5.3, Alex Bregman third best at a 5.2. In the National League, Christian Yelich ever so close to 7, he's at a 6.9, Jonathan Villar second best with a 6.3, and Paul Goldschmidt third best with a 5.9. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Friday, July the 10th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's virtual network.